This boy and girl are going to be well equipped when the time comes to take their places as worthy members of adult society.
Aloha, y'all. This is Daniel Eisenman, the host of the Breaking Normal podcast, where my guests are all invited based on the frequency of synchronicity, all done in person, and all trailblazers in the breaking of all things normal. All right, y'all. I have a feeling I might get judged for this intro, but I'm about to introduce you to the Swedish bikini chef, Kem Minnick. And if you go to her Instagram, you might see some videos of her dressed like this. So I figured it might be a fun way to say, welcome back to the show. She is super special. She has a lot of amazing things on the radar. And I really enjoyed how she was able to merge the world of food science and practicality. We talked from things about the conspiracy of cholesterol all the way to some of the best foods in the world, and her new book, Eat, Meat, and Be Happy. My producer asked me, what do I eat to have the physique that I do? And I explained to him, it's a lot of this right here. And Kim is using these currently. She's funny. If you tune into the whole episode, you'll hear how she says all vitamins make her sick. She gave me a call yesterday and told me she wasn't sick. And not only is she not sick, she's probably feeling healthier. So if you want to get that boost from Nature's multivitamin, this is our flagship product, Bison Liver Plus Heart. You can start microdosing this every morning, and you might realize you're not actually hungry for calories, but now you're full on nutrition, and it's easier for you to be the strongest, most focused version of yourself. And I think that's what Kim embodies. So thank you, Kim, for being part of the show. Keep breaking normal, y'all. Make sure you share this episode with someone else that probably needs to learn how to eat meat and be happy. And considering I was a raw vegan for some time, I needed that reminder. So maybe you know someone that does too. Keep breaking normal. Send me a screenshot of your review of your share, and we'll get of your review for the show, and we'll get you some of this Bison Liver Plus Heart at a tribe discount. All right, keep breaking normal, y'all. Thank you, Kim. Thank you. All right, welcome to the Breaking Normal podcast. Third show in this studio this week. It's Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's, Daniel.
Thank you. And thank you. I want to say that, not to brag about praying or anything, but I typically say a prayer to myself, and I typically say a quick prayer with my guest. I think I've done about 160 of these. And you might be the first person that's like, let's pray. I'll pray.
Yeah. Yeah, I pray during my television production. So before we start shooting, we always pray. Hold hands, pray.
Wow. Well, Kem Minnick.
Right.
We just got introduced to each other by our awesome producer here, Yovel.
And we're neighbors.
Yeah, we're living really close to each other. And if we got connected on Instagram first, and it says Kem Minnick, the Swedish bikini model.
The Swedish bikini chef.
Oh, maybe I misread that. Okay. All right, good correction. Thank you. Chef, the Swedish bikini chef.
Yes.
And you have a book coming out?
That is correct.
Eat, Meat, and Be Happy.
Correct. Recipes for a more meat diet.
Whew. Well, I aim to keep these dialogues between 44 minutes, an hour, and 11 minutes. Mm-hmm. That's a plenty of start right now. But I am curious. Tell me, let's start with the prayer. When did you start praying? What does prayer mean to you? Even outside the studio, is it a daily practice? Is it a constant thing?
I would say, I can work backwards on that. I usually pray. I pray at night. Before I go to sleep, I pray. I'm thankful at night. So I thank God at night for everything, for what a great life and all of the wonderful things that are happening in life. I pray to be able to help my family financially. I pray for my mom. I pray for my dad. I pray for my older brother and his wife. And I'm just so grateful for everyone I'm working with. So I express gratitude at night. And then in the morning...
Just a quick question. Do you pray by the name? Do you say their names, each one of their names when you pray? Or is this verbally out loud or to yourself?
Inside of myself, yeah.
Okay.
In my head at night when I lay down, I just always pray for my family and pray that my project and my media, my food company can help my family financially. And I sort of line up what I need to do with money and pray. Because I'm from West Virginia and my family does not have a lot of money, and I want to make sure that I'm able to provide for my family in the future.
West Virginia is a pretty beautiful state. Where in West Virginia?
The Eastern Panhandle.
Okay. All right. It's one of the most wild states.
Is it?
I think so. I think I think I have this memory of it has more deer per people than anywhere else in the country or something, or maybe deer car collisions. I just like have a flashback of and driving through West Virginia multiple times. And the Shenandoah Valley, is that in West Virginia?
Yes.
Come on now.
The Shenandoah River. So I live at the confluence of the Shenandoah and the Potomac. I'm from Inwood originally, and that's Berkeley County. And then we moved to Jefferson at the confluence of the Shenandoah and the Potomac. I was a whitewater raft guide on the Shenandoah River. It's beautiful.
Wow, you were a whitewater river guide?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're giving me just all kinds of, like, you're really tickling my curiosity here in many ways. All right, and let's just go to what seems to be most relevant right now, project-wise. Is the book coming out?
Yes.
Eat meat and be happy.
Recipes for a more meat diet.
What a great title.
Thank you.
Last night for dinner, I had I brought you some gifts, by the way.
that's
So this
great.
is
Wonderful. Thank you.
100% grass-fed
Wow.
bison tallow.
Beautiful.
This is the tallow we've been
Ooh,
using.
I love it.
And I basically
Great.
cooked.
This is edible or for skin?
That's edible, and this
Okay.
one's for the skin right here.
Great.
And that's pure kidney fat.
Ooh, wow.
And that's a white chocolate scented, so it has organic cacao and vanilla in there.
What a great Valentine's gift.
Do you want to try it? Do you want to smell it?
Yeah,
you
I'd
can
love to
at least
smell it.
it.
Yeah, it's not.
Um,
No, that's wonderful.
But
That's really nice.
okay, good. Yeah, a lot people
Yeah.
are obsessed with that,
Look at
including
this
myself.
blue. Love it.
Okay, cool.
Super excited.
Well,
Thank you.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
And I just basically used that, and I cooked about 2.5 pounds of bison flank steak, and I ate it all. And I think my daughter ate like 1/4 pound or half a
Good.
pound.
Good.
And
How many grams is that?
I usually don't do that, but I was just craving steak last night, and I saw those on deal, and I was like, I'm just gonna eat the whole thing tonight.
Nice.
And I didn't have milk. I drank a good bit of raw milk from a local farm here, and I'm not loaded with that, so I like extra loaded the meat. But eat meat and be happy. Is this like a new path for you, or have you always been like? Does this mean you're a carnivore? Does this mean like you're primal? What does this mean? Because I have a lot of people that are probably like associated with different types of diets. I don't really associate myself with a diet anymore. How about you? Where are you at with all this?
Well, I started Eat Meat and Be Happy 14 years ago in 2011.
Okay.
Yeah, from 2010. In 2010, I had some heart problems. I developed ventricular tachycardia. I went to Dr. Jamie Doucette here in town, and he's known me for years. I did landscaping and gardening at his house for him, and he sat me down in the room and just said, Kem, he's from Louisiana, you're exercising too much and not eating enough. There's nothing wrong with you. And I said, well, I've been trying this vegan diet. And he goes, you need to eat meat. Everybody needs to eat meat. And then that's when he told me the statistics in Boulder and Denver and from eating disorders. And so many women he sees in our area that are not eating enough meat. So he just told me to eat meat. So my heart doctor said eat meat.
Funny enough, the biggest buyer of our bison liver plus heart is a cardiologist.
Great.
He's been on the show. His name is Dr. Jack Wolfson.
Fantastic.
And I find not all doctors think this way, though. I was pre-med at one point, took the MCATs, did not get caught up in that system. And I was also a raw vegan at one point. And I had to upgrade my diet for the health of it.
Yeah.
So please continue, though.
Oh, thank you.
Just more things in common.
With your liver and heart, does this promote taurine, creatine?
Yeah, they would have all of that. We freeze
For the
dry the
heart.
organs raw, and then the cardiologist, Dr. Jack, he's under the homeopathic school of thought that like supports like.
Sure. That makes
And
total sense.
rather than promoting the idea of his patients going on a low cholesterol diet, he's actually promoting them to consume things like organ meats.
Great. Fantastic. Yep, we all need it.
Yeah.
Choline, cholesterol, exactly. I'm going to do some videos on cholesterol. I think a lot of people don't understand that cholesterol is a lipoprotein, which means lipo, fat, and protein amino acid. And whether it's a very high density or a very low density, we need it. Whether it's our synovial fluid, our eye fluid, our bodily secretions, it's all cholesterol. And when you eliminate cholesterol, there's some great science out there that I write about in my book talking about aggression in men, depression, irritability in women. And then we have to talk about how cholesterol makes our sex hormones. So androgen, testosterone, estrogen, progesterone are all only made from cholesterol, which only comes from animal proteins. And eliminating animal proteins from the diet is automatically, whether it's a child or a growing child, a teenager, a baby, a pregnant woman, is going to decrease the testosterone, estrogen, androgen, progesterone in the body. It's very, very important, cholesterol.
All right. Well, to make this more personal, this is what happened to us. So we had a YouTube channel, my brothers and I, doing a raw vegan diet in Costa Rica and other tropical places, and we
How
felt
wonderful.
great,
Yeah.
great for about 6 months.
At the equator, it's easy to do it, isn't it? At the
Yeah, it
equator.
really is. I mean, all the coconut waters we could drink, all the avocados,
Fruit.
mangoes, bananas, papaya, and they're all like good. And it's just like a sunny, very hot atmosphere, so it's kind of a nice diet for that.
Yeah.
But what happened was my youngest brother, he's competing at like the state champion swimming level, and he's believing he's getting slower. He's like getting depleted. This diet's no longer going to work for him.
Right.
And it was, so we informed our following and everything, and the raw bras became more about telling the raw truth. But what happened for me was like, all right, I'm gonna eat a big piece of salmon tonight. And when I did that, it'll be fun, Valentine's Day, a little pun here. I woke up with morning wood for the first time in like 7 months, and I'm like a young 20-year-old man.
Wow.
And then I started thinking differently. Like all of a sudden, I was like, I want to go like. Before this point, I was so good to just like chill on the beach and have fun and do nothing.
Sure.
Nothing. I was like, all my energy was like up here in my crown chakra. Like I'm at peace. But all of a sudden, like all that night, all that energy kind of like shot down. And it's good to know. Prior to this, I did go to a doctor, because I wanted to get my blood work before I started eating meat again, and I told them, no, I want to specifically test my testosterone. And they're like, no, you don't need to do that. You're like 20, whatever. I think I was like 22, 23, 24. And I'm like, no, I've been eating a radical diet, so I want to see that specific marker. And then they came back like 15 minutes later, and they were going to prescribe me testosterone. They said, your testosterone, I was like in the 80 or 90s. They're like, you have a testosterone like an 80-year-old man. I'm like, oh, it's all right. I know what to do.
Wow.
Ate that salmon. I think like it might have been that, very close to that. And then my whole like inner pharmacy, like I became I think I became more of myself.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
But it was a slippery slope. Like I was slipping into this like monk, like vegan surfer. But then I would see these guys that are surfing a lot better than me and stronger than me. And they would go get like burgers and beer. And I'm like, and I would be like exhausted, napping on the beach. And I just basically come to believe the same exact thing that you just said. And I don't know how vegans get around it. I see it seems like some vegans might be able to have like naturally optimal hormonal levels because of other parts of their lifestyle. But for me, I had no testosterone, and it changed everything about me right when I started eating meat again. And now I think there's optimal ways of doing it. Like I love like good rare bison. I love organ meats, etc. But just having that one piece of salmon that night changed my whole life. And it was because I stripped my body of animal cholesterol 100% for about 7 months straight.
And you were exercising intensely.
I was,
Yeah.
I was.
So you were eating up all your amino acids, your branched chain aminos that were being stored in your bones and your tissues. And I talk about this in the book. What happens with people who are vegan, raw food, plant-based is they are eating their bodies, their tissues. And if you've eaten meat in your life when you were younger, and then mostly in the 20s, people like to do the vegan stuff, and they do it, and then they stop doing it around 27, 28 when our bodies start naturally to age. So, well, for me, the big thing, yes, definitely the physicality. You know, I'm old now, so I'm not quite so much into the physicality. I look forward to maybe one day again, but right now I'm in doing other things besides exercising all the time, which I miss, but you know, got to do other stuff. But what really hit me was mental health. And I think for women, this is so much more important. I mean, it's just as important for men, of course, but because women menstruate, we have lower serotonin than men do. We have lower heme iron than men do. And the only way for us to eat meat and be happy is about how meat makes serotonin, the happiness neurotransmitter. In order for us to make serotonin, we have to have heme iron and we have to have zinc. So we have to eat meat.
And I don't know, I think the reason the cardiologist and what I'm doing believes in distributing those freeze-dried raw organs from the bison is because of the heme iron specifically. Our the best customers are basically moms. And the doctors that see their blood work, how'd you get your iron so high? Like, who would have thought? I guess just like microdosing on organ meats can make a big difference.
Absolutely. Organ meats have always been a part of, well, we're from Europe and we're European. I have a little bit of African American in my ancestry, which came from Africa to America as Andrew Jackson slaves. I'm a Jackson on my father's side, which is way back. But everything else is Europe. Everybody came over on the boat post World War One. Catholic refugees, Austro-Hungarian, the fall of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and everybody ate organ meat. I mean, my grandmother. I was in the kitchen with my grandmother when I was a child, and we cooked gizzards and we cooked hearts, and she fried gizzards, and hearts were my favorite.
I love hearts.
Oh
They're the
my
most
God.
muscly.
I
They taste the most like
love
steak.
heart.
Yeah.
Oh, heart is so good. I love duck heart, duck liver. Oh, duck. I mean, I like duck meat, but boy, I buy it for the heart, the liver, the gizzards. So I grew up with gizzards. I grew up with hearts and love them, but I didn't eat enough meat as a child. And as I got older, the world was turning into, just be a vegetarian, so you can be really skinny and be beautiful and all that.
Yeah, and that's what we got. By the way, with being very skinny by going vegan, all of us probably lost about 20 pounds in about 20 days by eating a raw vegan diet, and I think it was just like straight inflammation, like straight we weren't eating super clean before this, and that felt really good. But then we were starting to get skinnier and chubbier at the same time.
Interesting.
And I think
Carbohydrates.
I think it's because the cholesterol. We had no cholesterol. Therefore, our sex hormones were like depleted out of whack. Kind of what you were mentioning in the beginning about cholesterol.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we gain weight, it's usually because we're eating carbohydrates, too many carbohydrates, or back to your point with the nutrition that's found in organ meats. When humans have the right nutrition, they're in control of their appetite. So being overweight or being obese has to do with serotonin deficiency, and serotonin is only produced through the essential amino acid tryptophan, which is only available in animal proteins. The cofactors to serotonin production are zinc, heme iron, all 8 B vitamins, 7 of which only come from animal proteins. Tryptophan makes niacin, nothing else makes niacin. So meat, once we increase our meat content in our diet, we don't eat as much and we become more thin. And with the choline, which of course is going to be in our egg yolks, our organ meats, pork, raw meat. Choline is a raw. It goes back to when we were evolving and ate more organs and raw eggs and raw meats. And many, many societies all over the world eat raw meat. So with choline, you are going to have less inflammation. So, yeah, those are good points.
On the raw meat note, my girlfriend, she's been on a kicker, eating basically like a pound plus of raw meat almost every night, like ground, kind of like almost prepares it like a tartare.
Yeah.
Like may add a few like onions or garlic or salt or pepper.
Yummy.
But
is she doing bison?
I think she's in Italy right now.
Oh, that's right. She's in
so
Italy.
she is doing, I think, beef basically.
Yeah.
But she has had horse tartare in
I bet.
Italy.
I bet she has.
But I think most people are going to be thinking like, what about parasites? Like, is that safe?
Oh, well, parasites actually. I think there's a lot of myth around parasites. Parasites, again, if we go back to our European ancestry, there was a period of famine prior to World War I, during World War I, also during World War II, and meat would have maggots and or worms in it, from mostly maggots. So people were in a different place back then, and they had to cook their meat because it could have maggots in it, because people were carrying around meat longer and it's exposed to things. We went through a time in our world with World War I and World War II where meat had to be cooked. I have a friend who's lived in Sardinia, and she's half Greek, half American. I went to school overseas, and she and I are very good friends. My friend Stella. Hi, Stella. She was like, you can't eat raw meat, Kem. It has worms in it. Well, her mother's Greek and, came out of a period of time post-World War II. We grew up on NATO bases where food was scarce. As far as bacteria, you've got to be very careful with chicken. Listeria is a topical protozoa. It's not a worm or a parasite. Trichinosis, that's from rat poop. That's from feces of mice or rats. So this is something to be said for factory farming. There are no factory farms. There's big, as Temple Grandin says, there are either big farms or small farms. But the way we are growing pork in America is very clean and trichinosis free. I've worked with horses since the age of 14. I've been on farms. I grew up next to a 200-year-old dairy farm for the first 11 years of my life, the Butler Dairy Farm in Inwood, West Virginia. It's hard to have a farm without rats. So you're going to have rat feces. And you have to be very careful if you're growing food because trichinosis comes from rat feces and mouse feces.
Okay. What's the one about bear? I'm under the impression there's a few animals I would definitely not eat raw, and pig and bear basically.
No, cured pork is fantastic.
And that's
cured
raw
pork.
when they cure it.
Yeah,
Okay.
all cured
in that
meat
case,
is raw.
I do eat raw pork then.
Sausages, salamis, delicious. Love them. Yep.
And what the bear meat? Have you ever had bear meat?
I would never eat bear meat. I won't eat bear. I've eaten moose once and it made me so sick. Ugh, it was horrible. I will not eat bear. I will not eat moose. I won't eat a bear. A bear is a sentient being. It nurses its baby at the breast. So I'm not going to eat a bear. I won't eat something that's a predator. A bear's a predator.
Yeah, I don't know if
I
I've
won't eat
eaten predator either. I'm trying to think. I had whale.
Oh, where'd you have whale?
In Iceland.
I want to do whale. I want to go to the Faroe Islands and eat whale for sure.
Yeah, I was hesitant to
dolphin,
say
too.
that, but
That's fine. I'll eat dolphin too.
I don't know if I would eat dolphin.
Yeah, I might eat dolphin. I mean, I might.
I
I'd
ate shark
try
in
it.
Iceland. I ate
I
shark.
won't eat shark. You're not supposed to eat sharks.
They ferment them in their own guts, and it's like an old Icelandic health dish. The whale though, we had raw.
If there's enough of the whale.
But I want to tell you that was
Was it good?
The best.
That had to be so
meat
good.
I've ever
I know,
had.
I want some too.
It was just raw. It was just like talking about marbling.
Oh, it's hard though. I love whales, and
I am not promoting eating whale. I was in Iceland. I'm a bit of when in
Sure.
Rome type of thing. I was talking about this in the previous podcast. I think a tourist goes to see sights, and a traveler goes to be part of the scene. And I consider myself a traveler.
Yeah.
And I wanted to at least have a taste of what's going on with this whaling
Absolutely.
situation that's very important to some people in Iceland.
That's right.
And then when I had the meat, I'm like, well, at least I understand that part of it because that was the best meat I've ever had.
Well, I mean, I personally think octopus is the best meat.
Oh, I won't eat. That's the one meat that most people eat that I don't want to eat because I don't. I don't eat octopus. That's the one thing I've had a constraint on.
Oh, it's so good.
Or I haven't thought about eating dolphin. No one's ever offered me that. But there's plenty of octopus I've turned down.
I love octopus. Octopus and squid. Octopus is my favorite meat. It's hard to. I've only eaten it. Well, I eat it as sushi, which is hard because we're in Colorado, so it's hard to eat squid and octopus. I'll eat it and I'll go home and be sick and then still go back.
You mean you get sick
yeah.
physically?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll go eat sushi and I'll go home and
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, what are you eating mostly? What serves you the most
serves me the
currently?
most currently?
I'm sure, and it sounds like there'll be some recipes in the book.
Yes, there are a bunch of recipes.
Yeah.
Lamb is my favorite meat, go-to meat. I love lamb. Rack of lamb, I love. I love lamb, leg of lamb. So I do meal prep. I'm getting ready to move, so I'm not doing so much meal prepping. But usually I just go buy food at the grocery store, bring it, have Whole Foods deliver my groceries, and I eat quite a bit of lamb.
And you get that grass-fed, grass-finished. It's usually coming from Australia or New Zealand or locally,
No, we
but
have
it's
local.
usually
Our Whole Foods
clean.
has local.
Lamb
Well, lamb's always clean. Yeah,
That's
you
I'm
can't-
just promoting that lamb
Yeah,
is
always.
because some people might have a hard time. Speaking of eating animals, they might not like the idea of eating lamb, but it does seem to be a clean choice
Oh, it's
that a lot of people have
fantastic.
access
It's so
to.
sustainable. Sheep have to be outside 24/7. It's not an animal that you keep in. Not that there's anything wrong with keeping your animals in a barn, but sheep are on grass 24/7. You've got to have grass for sheep, and that's all they eat is grass. Very few people feed their sheep anything more than grass. So sheep have to be out on grass. All
And it
the
sure
time.
is tasty.
Oh God, it tastes so good. It's very good for us. It's very high in phenylalanine. It's high in dopamine. It's good meat.
And what's your favorite way of preparing lamb? I'm starting.
Well,
I've done slow roast legs. I've done the chops. I've done the. What are the ones that look like just little T-bones?
Oh, yeah. Those lamb chops. Those are lamb chops.
Okay, that's my favorite.
There's rack, and then there's the
I
lamb
just try
chop.
to broil them in the oven real quick, barely, where they're still really red on the inside, or sear them on the outside. What about you? Is there a go-to for lamb?
I do traditional Greek-style lamb with my lamb, and my lamb is practically raw. So if I'm serving others, I know I prepare it differently, but if I'm going to eat it, then it's practically raw. So I bring my meat. I bring it home. When it comes home, I set it on the counter. I let it come to room temperature. I turn the oven on. I crack the oven door, and then I just cover it in olive oil, salt. I don't use pepper anymore because the dog loves lamb bones.
He's doing good.
Yeah, and so I don't put pepper on it, but I just do salt, and I mean, rack of lamb, you don't really. I do different sauces in the book. Like I teach people if they want to do sauces, I do tzatziki sauce, yogurt, cucumber, balsamic soy, honey, raspberry sauce. But I don't. I just pick it up and eat it. I cook it for less than 30 minutes.
Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think lamb is so much better, more rare.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, here we are really talking about the benefits of cholesterol. A lot of people are terrified of cholesterol.
Yeah, that came out of it's very strange. Do you know the history at all?
I want I want to learn the history again from you, and
Great.
I want other people to hear what you know about it.
Sure. It's in the book. So I write about, I have a whole chapter on cholesterol in the book. What we had is we had some doctors back in the 50s. Abram Hoffers was one of them. And his work was in the area of the substance that does clog our arteries, which is called homocysteine or homocysteine. And homocysteine is a breakdown product from an essential amino acid called methionine. If you don't have enough folate and you don't have enough B12, you will have homocysteine. If you have enough folate, which comes from fruit, and you have enough B12, which you get if you don't overcook your meat, you have the nutritional cofactors to convert homocysteine back to usable methionine. So it's called the homocysteine methionine conversion. Now, Hoffers was the expert in this area, and there are many papers, and I quote them in my book. My book has a number 9 font, 70-page bibliography. I went with Skyhorse Publishing because I wanted my book to be printed exactly as I wrote it.
Okay.
And Skyhorse does that. Other companies don't. They want to make it whatever they want to make it and put you into whatever category they want to sell you. So, this doctor, Abram Hoffers, did all this research on homocysteine, and guess what happened? He took LSD with Carl Pfeiffer. And now Hoffers and Pfeiffer are swept under the rug as quacks. And the cholesterol conundrum came about.
I'm so curious what happened to them after they use LSD just one big hit one time, or did they just start using it more consistently and they went off?
Remember when you did the vegan diet and you kind of dropped out a little bit?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a whole different trip. Like when you start talking about people who started using LSD and then they move into communes and they don't want to go to work anymore.
What are their names? I'm going to do research.
Abram Hoffers.
Okay.
Abram, Abram, Jewish, Hoffers, or Hoffer. Excuse me, I might be not. I told you, so I have to fact check. And then Carl Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer is Pfeiffer. Carl Pfeiffer.
I don't want to divert the story where we were going, but that just got me curious too.
It's really good stuff.
Yeah,
I write about it in Eat, Meet, and Be Happy. And it's very important that people understand how good cholesterol is for us. And also the work that these scientists and doctors did, including Linus Pauling as well. People don't know who Linus Pauling is. They don't know who Roger Williams is. And all of these men back in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s were the nutritional experts. The greatest nutritional scientists of our time were Linus Pauling, Roger Williams, Abram Hoffers, and Carl Pfeiffer. And nobody knows who they are.
Okay. All right, so that's where we're at. They kind of went off, and then what happened from there to where this cholesterol myth
the cholesterol
cultivated.
Kellogg's work with don't eat meat. If you stop eating meat, you won't masturbate, like you were saying. It does drop your sex drive, and vegans aren't producing. I am not a conspiracy theorist, and I don't like to go down the statin route. And, the early 70s, we had Atkins come out and say, everybody has to eat fat. Everybody's got to eat fat. Everybody's got to eat protein. We got to eat this. This is good for us. And I think that the good doctors took LSD and found cute hippie girls to hang out with and shack up and stuff and started growing gardens. They went back to the garden. And I think that the doctors who were in school doing this needed to make money. So they had to come up with, there's a problem we need to fix. And if we go back and we look, we see that. And if people such as the Wortman lab at MIT, when they talk about serotonin and the production of serotonin and what have you, they had to make money for weight loss drugs. Nobody was saying, let's give you money to make people healthy. They said, okay, people are overweight, let's give them a drug because serotonin controls the appetite. Well, you just have to eat more meat. So that's why I call it a more meat diet. I may have convoluted that a little bit, but
I don't think it's that much of a conspiracy. To me, it makes a lot of sense why doctors want patients to have a certain cholesterol level because they have drugs they get paid to distribute that helps control that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way about mammograms. I mean, I got a mammogram once before I had breast implants, but I'll never get a mammogram again.
Tell me, please, why? I have a lot of personal skepticism.
Yeah.
That sometimes I'm even scared to not only talk about it, but to think about it too much because it gets a little convicting. But so mammograms is not something I personally deal with, but obviously I know a lot of people that do.
Well, yeah, they try to force you. Binky, qu'est-ce qu'il fait là? He's chewing a cord. Sorry. Binky, viens manage.
Doggy here.
Viens. You chew cords. Chewing cords is like our only thing he's not allowed to do. Well, I won't get a mammogram and I won't get a pap smear.
All right, yeah, tell me why, please.
Well, because...
And the more personal, the better.
I'm not promiscuous, so I never had a venereal disease. I don't plan on ever getting a venereal disease. I'm not promiscuous. I'm not sexually active unless I'm in a monogamous, loving relationship. But, he's also completely and totally monogamous, so don't worry about that. And two, I don't want to get my uterus taken out because they're like, oh, you have abnormal cells. I mean, what's that all about,
So you're like, am I hearing that you're not wanting to put yourself in the place of a projection placebo type of thing?
What do you mean?
Like the doctor, because you're concerned that the doctor might tell you something you don't want to even be projected upon you because you're not, even if they told you that, you're not even sure if you would be aligned with why they believe that way.
Oh, I just don't go to the doctor. I mean, I go to the dentist, I get my teeth cleaned, I take care of my teeth, and I, take care of my health. But you go as a woman, you go to the doctor and they just want to take your uterus out, or they want to cut your boobs off. And our tissues change all the time. So anyway, I don't, that's just who I am. And that's the choice I've made. And
I haven't gone to a doctor other than to a check for driving or something.
Yeah.
And quite a long time,
yeah.
or a dentist. And I feel very thankful to say that.
Yeah.
I was just curious about your personal reasons. I haven't heard many people say that actually.
Well, I don't want those, I don't know. It doesn't feel good to me. I have a friend who is an obstetrician and she's also in horses and she's pretty clear. She's like, you don't need a mammogram and all that stuff is nonsense. They want to get paid to take your uterus out, and I'm just not going there. And then they want to sell you hormones. Then they're like, oh, okay, well, you have to buy these hormones because we took your uterus out.
Our producer here is being awesome, and he's telling me to talk about the product.
Producer.
And this is another gift for you. This is the elk
great.
liver
Oh, my gosh,
heart,
I'm so excited.
and it has antler in it.
Oh, fun.
Velvet antler. But the
how
liver and
nice.
heart,
Yes.
all the things you were speaking about, all those micronutrients, heme, iron,
Great.
zinc, B12,
Okay.
all those.
Oh, I'm excited.
All the B vitamins.
Does it help you to poop? I'm just kidding.
I think it helps everyone's guts, their whole gut function.
Great.
But I
I'm
do
excited.
think it has all those micronutrients that you were alluding to, that why eating organ meats and raw organ meats would be beneficial to someone because they're the most bioavailable in the raw form, and that's how we freeze dry them.
Oh, great. Okay, I'm excited. Thank you. That sounds great.
And this right here is
What is
freeze dried bone broth.
Oh my goodness. I made. Oh wow. This is your
That's
your
it.
special product though, right?
We just launched this. Yep.
So great.
Yep. That is
Femur creamer.
We slow simmered the bones, 100% grass fed
fun.
bison bones, like the traditional way, Weston A.
Yeah.
Price style, 24 hours.
Wow.
Spring water, no pressure. And then we just
Wow.
freeze dry it. And
That's
And
great.
And that goes great in I know you were talking about drinking matcha. Mm-hmm. It goes great in hot beverages. That's why we're calling it the
Okay.
femur creamer. I use it in
Great.
coffee.
Oh,
But
okay.
you don't drink coffee.
No.
Why matcha and not coffee?
Well, coffee is blackened, and that will contain cadmium. So cadmium is the number one substance to cause cancer. So whether it's cadmium from smoking, cigarettes, cannabis, cadmium from the smelting of aluminum that's in the air, like our brown cloud. Denver at one time had the highest cadmium rates, even higher than LA. And a lot of it had to do with aluminum smelting. Bug.
You found my little pin.
Yeah, he's being a little stinky, isn't he?
He's
Are you
being
being
curious.
stinky? Are you being curious? I know, we have to keep an eye on him because he's kind of a baby.
He's
Thanks,
cute.
guys.
How old is he?
10 months old.
Oh, wow. He's a cutie.
Hi, bud.
He's
Do
pretty
you want mommy to hold
well calm mannered for
hold
10
him?
months.
Yeah, he's really good. He's awesome. I love him. He eats raw. He eats 3 raw chicken bones, drumstick bones a day. He eats raw beef from Whole Foods, and he eats eggs, hard-boiled eggs.
I feed my dogs, especially when they were puppies. I fed them more that way. They're pit bulls or American Staffordshire Terriers. But tell it, what breed of dog is that? Can you show it on camera? Because I would like to talk about this for a moment. Because people don't believe you can feed a dog raw chicken bones.
Oh,
Some people
his
don't.
His breeder only feeds raw. Yeah. Say hi.
Now, what about cooked chicken bones? Because I've heard that's dangerous.
He doesn't even like cooked chicken. He only wants it. I don't feed him well.
Look at that shot. He would love this stuff.
I think he will. Yeah, Binky's
He
pretty
probably
cute.
smells it.
Commander Bon is quite the little man. No, his breeder.
Oh man, I have elk liver pet treats. Next
Oh,
time I
neat.
see you, can I give you some?
Yeah,
They're raw freeze-dried elk liver.
The people I work with, Colorado Craft Beef, they're going to send me some dog treats too. I'll get you some too. But no, Binky, his breeder only feeds ground up raw food, and she goes to Palm Beach once a week and gets 400 pounds.
So what about that? But how important? I would like to, if you can summarize, how do you feed a dog raw? Like how do you?
It's really
don't you need
easy.
some bones? Don't you need some organ meats? Don't you? Or how do you do it?
He loves liver. He does. What I do is I actually take tallow, and I take liver, and I take flour, and I make him biscuits, and those aren't raw; they're cooked.
Okay.
So I make him.
Wow.
I do tallow liver and just organic wheat flour from Whole Foods.
That's awesome.
And I cook him, and I make heart-shaped dog biscuits for him, and he eats that. He also always has a full bowl of Eukanuba puppy because
is that a brand of dog food? Okay,
it's from
cool.
France.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all over the world. So if you're in the Caribbean, for instance, and he comes to the Caribbean, you can always get Eukanuba. Eukanuba is sold all over the world. It's from France.
Okay. Is it a raw?
No, it's
okay.
kibble.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But it's from France, so.
Okay.
The chicken is. The way I do the chicken is I do this barbecued chicken because I like barbecue sauce. So I buy him legs and then I barbecue the chicken, but I don't cook it all the way. And then I cut the meat off and the bone is still raw.
Okay.
So the very end of the bone that isn't raw, he won't eat.
Interesting. Because my dogs are a little bit probably more aggro with their eating,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe it's because of the breed. But I was told not to ever give them cooked bones.
Right.
But when I remember this giving them like a whole chicken.
Lots of people do that.
back,
Lots
and
of people do that.
Crunch leg
Yeah.
crunch, and people are like, oh my god, he's gonna choke.
No.
And I'm like, it seems actually it makes his like poops better.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
They
it's
don't
like-
stink. They're dry. They're easier to pick up. Totally. Well, he eats raw. When I do duck, I don't cook the duck all the way through, and I cut the duck off. So I do a duck recipe in my book, and I make tacos. For people who want corn. I cook the corn tortilla in duck fat. And
is it okay if I hold him?
Oh, if he wants
if
you
he
to.
wants to.
Sure,
okay,
sure.
let's see.
You can.
He's acting like he might want.
Yeah, he might. He likes you.
Binky.
Do you want to let him pick you up? You can pick him up under his
Pick you up,
armpits,
Binky?
and then you just lift his bum.
No, I'm
okay.
gonna push out.
He might. If he might.
Oh.
You have to put your hands right under his armpits.
Neediness is so
right,
good at killing deals.
Right. Yeah. Look at you. You're so silly.
You're a sweetie.
He's so funny. Oh, yeah. He puts the bone in his back teeth, and he pulverizes it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He just sits there like this on the ground.
Getting
and
that marrow out.
Yeah, he pulverizes it. And his back teeth eat it. And then I give him another one when he's done with that one. And then I give him another one if he wants another one. But he's usually about 3 a day. Hi. What you doing?
That's pretty shocking for people. Do you?
What's
For some people, I know.
Yeah.
I know some people are very aware of this,
Yeah.
but like some people just get the cheapest dog food they can have and just throw it in a bowl and that's that.
The dog wouldn't eat. I mean, he came from a woman who brings these dogs over from Europe. She's one of the top Cavalier Spaniel breeders in the world. He came with breeding show rights. He's going to make some babiys. You're going to get some babies out there.
Sweetie.
And
He is super handsome. Like the more I see his face.
I know. He's
Holy
so
moly.
beautiful. I know. I waited a long time to get him, and I went to the right breeder, and I spent the money, and I just did it.
Wow.
But yeah, and doesn't his fur feel so
Yeah,
soft?
he's
He's like a bunny.
Well, I just even noticed, like when I feed my dogs different foods, especially if I start getting them a lot of like organ powders. Like there's been a few times we have like extra powder. I'm like, that's not enough to do anything with. So I just like start loading their food in it.
Yeah.
And their coats start to shine.
Yeah. I know, it's great. Well, horses are the same. So even though horses are not carnivores, horses require grain, which I think is something we should touch on if we have time. So horses are all domesticated animals were only domesticated with grain. And grain induces serotonin into the brain. It has to do with insulin shunt. So when you feed a horse, we have to feed a horse grain. We have to feed a horse corn. We have to feed a horse barley, wheat. Soy supplement is good for horses. Because,
wow.
Yeah. And it makes the horse's coat shiny. It makes them have higher red blood cells. One of the things I have a television series coming as well. I know we didn't mention that, but
Same name or
Eat Meat and Be Happy, Let Them Eat Steak.
where can we tune into
Fox.
this? When?
When they put it on.
Okay.
Yeah. So it goes back into production
that
March 1st.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, it's super exciting. I'm interviewing you. I'll interview you for it. Of course.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. You're a good single dad and take great care of your daughter. And, good dads are the backbone of the human race. So people should see and the good things you're doing by bringing these great products and helping people in their health. So it's really good stuff. That's what it's about. Showing the good people out there taking great care of animals and how we produce meat ethically and sustainably. But yeah, grain is important. I know I go against the grain of our set of people, when it comes to the meat movement. But my work with horses over the years and growing up next to a dairy farm, I just have an understanding. Also working with, there's so much science in livestock nutrition. And all domesticated animals were domesticated with grain. So evolution only goes through survival value, and grain feeding of animals is very good for them. So, and I know I go against
for certain ones, or for
pig.
I'm thinking bison. I'm like, they evolved eating.
Bisons are fine.
Yeah,
bison don't need grain.
All right, but go ahead.
Cattle, all domesticated cattle, grain fed is great. I eat bison too. I love bison. I eat the Great Range bison from Whole Foods, and I love it. It's fantastic. I love bison, but
they actually finished theirs on grain.
It's good.
Yeah, they do. Just as
That's
a
good
little,
meat.
as far as I know, because we
Yeah.
would have bought. They have much more organs for cheaper, but we only distribute the grass-fed, grass-finished suppliers.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there's no reason not to. But I mean, pigs, horses, cattle, duck, chicken, they all do better on grain. It's better for them. They're emotionally more content because they have a higher serotonin. Their meat has higher tryptophan content. The science on this goes back to the early 1900s. Purina did a tremendous amount of science, of work in this area for nutrition to help animals. Choline is very important to their health. And what I think humans don't understand is the animals can absorb the nutrition from the grain, and we can't. So, for instance, if a grain has heme iron or zinc in it, vegetarians and vegans don't understand that they're not absorbing heme iron or zinc in any grain, in any vegetable.
Okay, yeah, that's important.
Yeah, but animals can. Livestock can. Herbivores can. Whether monogastric or multigastric, What? Okay, you're going to behave now, right? Okay, so there's that. I just dropped that one.
Well, I mean, yeah, you dropped a lot of things. I definitely think it's super exciting. The show and the book are all getting ready to be launched. And for the people that want to get the book, is there like a pre-order?
There is, yeah. So you just Google Eat Meat and Be Happy, and it comes up Target, Amazon, Skyhorse Publishing.
Oh, wow. You got amazing distribution there. That is exciting.
Mm-hmm. It is exciting. I worked on it for a long, long time.
What's the best way for people to follow it? Follow this journey? Where do you want to send them?
They can follow. I post different content on every platform. So, for instance, on Twitter, I might post a little more science and some, funny memes on the United States of America. On Instagram, I do a lot of cooking and silly stuff. Facebook and Instagram are the exact same. We're putting a website up. So my guy here in Boulder, we're getting that up.
Okay.
And once we go into production again, March 1st, we'll be doing more YouTube videos. And the book comes out the end of June.
Okay.
So everything will be a little more congealed by then as far as where people can pay attention. Come on, bug. Be good boy. Be good boy. You got to be good boy. Yeah. You got to be a good stinky boy.
Well, is there anything you want to make sure we say that we did not say?
I think that we did pretty well, don't you?
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, the book will come out this summer. Target, Amazon, Skyhorse, bookstores. And I'll be filming in New York, so I look forward to doing some talk shows, early morning stuff then. That'll be really fun.
Yeah. Wow.
Just keep going. Yeah, it's great.
Well, I'm very, very thankful for the synergistic connection here from the
Sylvelle.
producer of Let's Do Podcast.
Yes.
I definitely see the unavoidable success of this place.
Oh, I know. This is fantastic.
It's so nice to be part of the start.
I know. Isn't it great?
I
love
love
it.
Breaking
Love
Normal.
it.
That is a big part of Breaking Normal for me, is to be part of the start of amazing things.
Oh, great.
And then to catch you before you start the show and publish this book.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm riding that wave again, and it's real nice. I'm very thankful.
Well, we're going to have food products too. So, I'm making food, which is what I love. Feeding people is my superpower.
Wow. And I liked what you said about, what did you say about dads one more time? Dads being the backbone.
Good fathers are the backbone of the human race, whereas women are the moral compass of the human race. So.
Is that spoken about in your book?
No, that comes from the Urantia book.
That's what book is that?
The Urantia book?
Yeah, I think you told me about.
The book that Mo Siegel published?
Yeah.
Yeah, it came out of Aspen.
If someone, say that out loud.
Urantia, Truth Book. Yeah.
Okay.
Both of those quotes are from the Truth Book.
Hey, Mo. See you on the pickleball courts.
I know, right?
Yeah,
Good
wow.
old Mo.
I got to get him on. We should get Mo in here.
Mo's
Do you know
so
Mo?
great.
This would be a great opportunity. Yeah, Mo's fun.
Get Mo to talk about the Urantia book, too.
Let's do it.
Well,
all right, seed planted.
If I may say one thing, something the Urantia book does say is it says that farming is the most noble profession. And that farmers are the most noble people. So that's a beautiful quote, too, from the Urantia book.
All right. Well, to be continued. Thanks
All
for breaking normal
yes,
with
that
me
was
today.
great. Let's do it
especially
again.
here on Valentine's Day.
Oh, I know. Happy Valentine's, Danielle.
You as well. Yeah. All right. Take care, y'all. Keep breaking normal. All right, y'all. Thank you, Kim. That was funny, fun, connective, inspiring. And I forgot to mention in the intro, she actually got some of our white chocolate tallow balm as well. And this is her new face lotion. I think once you go to Bison, you would never go back. But right here, this stuff smells like ice cream. It's the most moisturizing product on earth, really. And this is what our ancestors used to carry their medicine and herbs for their skin. So let's go back to what works. And thank you, Kim, for reminding us that. And thank you for reminding us practical ways to doing it. And I'm really looking forward to your book coming out and getting some of those recipes with all that lamb. And if you haven't checked out Breaking Normal, the book, get it on Audible or Amazon. I published it in 2017, and it only seems to be getting more and more relevant every day. Looking forward to seeing y'all next time. And once again, thanks to the awesome studio here. Let's Do Podcast. If you're in Boulder and you want to start your show, reach out to them on Instagram, and we'll keep taking this to the next level. Much love, y'all.